Part 33. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 321. Chapter 321. Does the teacher think that after I told you and you warned them, they would not dare to say these things in private? Do they really not think so in their hearts? Fenling looked at Luo Yu. Her eyes were very calm, a little too calm. Luo Yu was speechless for a moment. She was stopped by Fenling's question. Indeed, she had no way to guarantee that those people would shut up after she came forward. After all, the word public opinion is very scary at certain times. Existence, and she has no way to guarantee all of this. No matter what, since this has happened, as my student, I will never leave you alone. Luo Yu glanced at Fenling and said. She calmed down and continued, leave this matter to me, and I will do everything possible to protect you. Teachers are indeed not omnipotent, but no matter what, I am your teacher and this will never change. Go to class. Luo Yu rubbed Fenling's head, and the girl was stunned on the spot. In fact, Luo Yu's action reminded her of Yeking Han. Ever since she traveled through time, she had lost contact with Yeking Han. She had been looking for news about Yeking Han, but she had never found it. Similarly, she has never changed her name. If Yeking Han was still in this world, she would not have found him after so many years, unless he did not travel through time with her. Also, Yeking Han may have lost his memory just like in the previous world. System, do you know what's going on? Fenling asked. The system was stunned for a while before saying, Lingling, this may be the sequelae of traveling through time and space. According to my understanding, Yeking Han no longer existed in the original time and space, unless he really forgot what happened before traveling through time. The system paused for a while and continued, Lingling, it's like this. There is a way to restore Yeking Han's memory, and that is to exchange memory for memory. What do you mean? Fenling asked. It means that you travel to another space in the parallel space to complete the task, and when you arrive in that space, you will temporarily forget about Yeking Han after completing the task. When you come back, you will both have the original memories. However, this also has disadvantages. In that space, I would most likely fall in love with someone else because I don't remember Yeking Han. Fenling said the result calmly. The system is silent. Fenling knew that she was right, but... System, I'm ready. But what if? There is no if, system, believe me, my relationship with Yeking Han. I believe I won't, just like I believe he won't fall in love with another woman now. In this world, it is not easy to find someone who suits your eyes. The system was silent for a while and then smiled, Lingling, you and Yeking Han really match each other. I feel so too. Fenling traveled through time. When she woke up, she was forced to accept the memory of the original owner. The original owner was a 16-year-old girl who went abroad when she was 8 years old because, on her birthday, she watched her eldest brother Fen Yuchen being beaten. Someone died. This world is different from modern times. They have ancient mechanisms and modern means of transportation. In this era, there is the term subordinate and the term slave. As long as the master is willing, the slave's life or death depends on the master's thoughts. Fen Yuchen, on the other hand, showed tenderness to the young Xiao Fenling, but that day, when Xiao Fenling accidentally walked into his secret room, she saw him beating him to death with her own hands. She once regarded him as her own second brother's slave. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 322. Chapter 322. Xiao Fengling was filled with fear, so she developed autism and was no longer willing to communicate with the outside world, hiding herself in her own world. Father Feng Tian had no choice but to send Xiao Fengling abroad so that she could grow up abroad. When she was 16 years old, her father Feng Tian passed away. Fen Yuchen was worried that Fen Ling would not be able to take care of her abroad, so she asked someone to borrow her back. But after bringing her back, Fen Yuchen was at a loss as to how to face her sister, whom she had not seen for so many years. "Master, the lady is back. Qing Huan is the new slave Fen Yuchen found after he beat that slave to death. He has always been curious about the young lady Fen Ling. It is said that the master came to him to make the young lady forget about her last slave. Although he was just a slave, he probably knew why Fen Yuchen beat that slave to death. If that man hadn't treated the young lady, the master will not. Although the master is usually very serious, he does not hit people often, but as long as it involves the young lady, he will never show mercy. It's a pity that the lady doesn't know all this. Go pick her up and tell me how she is." "Yes, master." Fen Ling probably received the memory of the original person. In fact, for so many years, the original person has often suffered from autism in foreign countries. After Fen Ling came over, this symptom actually did not disappear. For example, when Fen Ling was relieved of it, Fen Ling understood it in her heart, but her body still resisted. Systemically speaking, it is because the original body has not completely separated from this body, and her consciousness is still there. What Fen Ling wants to do is to help the original body truly escape from the fear of childhood. "Don't worry, I will do it for her, and Yeking Han will definitely do it too. Hello, miss, I am Qing Huan, my master's slave." Qing Huan is a very handsome boy, very good looking and very comfortable. When Fen Ling saw him for the first time, she knew he was a good person. She has investigated and found that this Qing Huan has been with Fen Yuchen for 8 years. He should be regarded as Fen Yuchen's confidant. Fen Ling nodded, indicating that he understood. Qing Huan turned sideways and said, "Miss, please follow Qing Huan in. The master has already ordered someone to prepare the meal." "Okay," Fen Ling said softly. This was a major breakthrough after Fen Ling took up this body. It turned out that the original body would not be able to talk to strangers so quickly. Qing Huan smiled and then led Fen Ling into the room. "Master, the lady is already at the dining table. Would you like to go over and have a look?" The pen in Fen Yuchen's hand stopped. In his heart, he wanted to see it. However, when his father was still alive, he said that his sister had not completely come out. Every time he showed her his photos or mentioned her, she would particularly stressful. The man sighed, "Forget it, I'll go see her after she finishes eating. It saves her from having a bad meal." Fen Yuchen actually regretted why she didn't close the door to the secret room at that time. Only then did Fen Ling slip in. If it weren't for this, his sister wouldn't. Fen Ling finished her meal and walked into her room relying on her memory, only to find that the style of the room was designed to be particularly comfortable. There is purple that she likes very much. This should be designed by her brother Fen Yuchen. "Look, he's actually quite nice to you," Fen Ling said to the original person. After saying this, the body shook invisibly. She is still afraid of Fen Yuchen. Fen Ling sighed, "Forget it, take your time. Autism and stress cannot be cured in a day or two." At noon, when Fen Ling was sleeping, Fen Yuchen walked in quietly. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 323. Chapter 323. Looking at his sister's face, he suddenly felt that time passed so quickly. Fen Ling was only a little older when he sent her out. Fen Ling was a very light sleeper. Even though Fen Yuchen was already very light, Fen Ling still woke up. When he saw Fen Yuchen, Fen Ling was stunned for a moment before realizing that this was his brother. Fen Yuchen was stunned for a moment when he saw the girl waking up, Ling Ling. Fen Ling sat up from the bed and just looked at Fen Yuchen without saying anything. Fen Yuchen spoke by herself, "Well, when you come back this time, I will arrange a high school for you that is closer to home, called Lingyang High School. You can check it out in a few days, and if you feel uncomfortable, my brother will help you change it, okay?" The girl rolled her eyes and nodded slightly in response. Fen Yuchen was surprised to find that Fen Ling didn't seem to be as repulsive to her as she was after the incident when she was a child. At least she wouldn't shrink into a corner in fear when she saw him. Fen Yuchen suddenly wanted to try to see how well Fen Ling accepted herself now. He slowly squatted down. When the girl saw him moving, she subconsciously shrank back. When she saw that the man was just squatting down, she quietly breathed a sigh of relief. These are the true reactions of the original owner. Lingling, you haven't been home for many years. This time when you go home, would you like my brother to accompany you for a walk? Didn't you always want to see the back garden and raise small animals in the back garden? Brother, why don't you go home? If you raise it, I'll wait for you to go and have a look. Do you want to go? Fen Yuchen was good at tempting Fen Ling and tempted her with things she liked. The girl thought for a long time before nodding. Means that you want to go. The man could hardly hold back his smile. He got closer to the girl little by little, and then sat on the bed. The distance between him and the girl was only half a meter. Then let's put on our coats, okay? The man took the coat and tried to put it on the girl, but the girl suddenly shrank into the corner and looked at him in fear. The smile on the man's face stiffened for a moment, mixed with a hint of helplessness. Then Lingling can dress herself? Brother won't touch you. After a long time, the girl took the clothes from the man, put them on herself, put on her shoes, and followed the man, always keeping a distance. But after seeing the animals in the back garden, Fen Ling could clearly feel her happiness. She hugged the nearest kitten, then sat on the ground and scratched its fur. The kitten was soft, only 2 months old, and could meow softly. The girl was so happy that she forgot about the kitten next to her. There is a person. So much so that Fen Yuchen accidentally touched the girl's hair, but the girl didn't react at all. Fen Yuchen was stunned for a moment, then slowly sat down next to the girl in surprise, stretched out her hand and pretended to touch the kitten's fur, and gently leaned against the girl's hand with her own hand. Fen Ling felt a big hand touch her, but surprisingly, she didn't seem particularly disgusted. This is the first time that I have grown so big. The girl raised her head and looked at the man next to her with confusion in her eyes. Obviously he should be the person she fears the most, so every time he approaches, she subconsciously feels that she should stay away from him. But why doesn't she feel disgusted at all when he touches her? Fen Ling stared at Fen Yuchen blankly. After looking at it for a long time, she felt that she couldn't understand it, so she went to catch the cat again. Fen Yuchen didn't know what Fen Ling was thinking, she just felt that she couldn't miss this moment of cultivating a relationship with her sister. Do you like Lingling? Fen Yuchen gently touched the girl's hair. Fen Ling thought for a moment and nodded. There was no other special reaction to Fen Yuchen's actions. Since she was not disgusted, it was okay if he wanted to touch her. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 324. Chapter 324. If Lingling likes it, let's take it back and raise it, okay? Fen Yuchen suggested. Fen Ling glanced down at the cat in her hand, thought about it carefully, and nodded, okay. Having been with Fen Ling for so long, this was the first time Fen Yuchen heard Fen Ling speak. His sister's voice is really nice, soft, and waxy. Fen Yuchen feels like her heart is melting. Let's go, where else do you want to go? Fen Ling raised her head, looked at Fen Yuchen, and said 2 words, Dad. She wanted to see her father. He had been away for so long, and she was unable to come back to attend his funeral because he was abroad. But she really misses her father, who is the best person in the world to her. Her father was always with her when she was abroad. Later, when she grew up, her father no longer had to accompany her every day, so he visited her once every 3 days and stayed with her for 2 days. Speaking of which, it was also because of her that my brother did not have his father around during his childhood. Fen Yuchen looked at her sister and sighed, "Okay, brother will take you to see your father." He walked forward, but felt a small hand holding his sleeve. Fen Yuchen stopped in surprise and looked at the girl. Fen Ling also looked up at him. "Fen Yuchen, Lingling you." Dad. Fen Ling gently tugged on Fen Yuchen's clothes to express that she wanted to see her father. Fen Yuchen nodded, "Okay, brother, I will take you to see Dad." He held the girl's little hand with his back hand. Fen Ling's body trembled, but in the end she stayed obediently in Fen Yuchen's hand. Her brother's hand was as warm as her father's. Fen Yuchen pulled Fen Ling and walked all the way to Fengtian's cemetery. The moment she saw Fengtian, Fen Yuchen felt particularly sour. If her father were still here, she would be very happy to see him and Fen Ling like this. Unfortunately. Dad. The girl looked at that familiar face, but now it had become a tombstone, and her emotions gradually collapsed. Fen Ling completely handed over the control of her body to the original body. I saw the girl sitting on the ground, looking at the tombstone, leaning her head on it, and calling Daddy over and over again. "Dad, Dad, Dad. Dad, why are you ignoring me? You said that as long as I call you, you will definitely answer me. Dad, Dad, I miss you, Dad." The girl was crying so hard that she could hardly breathe. Fen Yuchen squatted down and said, "Lingling, Daddy is watching us in the sky. Don't worry, my brother will definitely take good care of you in the future, okay? I miss Dad." Fen Ling looked at the man with coaxing eyes, and then tentatively pulled on the man's sleeve. Before, the girl held her brother's hand and seemed to feel comfortable. The moment she touched Fen Yuchen, the girl threw herself into his arms and completely collapsed emotionally. That day, Fen Ling cried for the whole afternoon, while Fen Yuchen stayed with her sister quietly. Gently comfort her. It was the first time for Fen Yuchen to have such a little thing in her arms. It was more or less right for Fen Yuchen. But looking back, I feel happy. The next day, Fen Ling's eyes became swollen. Qing Huan was still at the dinner table as before, competently guarding the table, but Fen Yuchen still didn't come down. Fen Ling thought for a while and asked Qing Huan, "Where is my brother?" "The master is in the study, miss. Are you looking for him?" "Why doesn't he come down to eat?" Fen Ling asked. Qing Huan was a little surprised as to why the young lady talked so much today and even took the initiative to kick the master. "The master is busy and may not be able to come down to eat." "Then let me wait for my brother to eat together." Fen Ling thought for a while, then walked down from the chair. "I'll go find my brother and ask him when he's ready to eat." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 325. Chapter 325. How is Purgatory? Your Majesty, the Purgatory is now ready to go, so I sent the master to check it out. The man standing in front of Fen Yuchen looked at Fen Yuchen respectfully. Although the Feng family is just an ordinary aristocratic family on the surface, it can be seen among a bunch of aristocratic families, but it is not that big of a name. However, in fact, the Feng family is the master of Purgatory. Everyone knows that Purgatory is a famous existence in this world, but no one knows who the owner of Purgatory is, and no one knows who is leading the sudden rise of Purgatory in the past 5 years. It can be said that all aristocratic families are particularly afraid of Purgatory, but no one dares to provoke Purgatory. It is said that the owner of Purgatory is a murderous demon who does not blink an eye. The devil in their eyes is Fen Yuchen. Fen Tian was in charge of purgatory before, but after Fen Tian left, because the Feng family was targeted by many people, Fen Yuchen was forced to grow up and became the master of purgatory. In order to provide stability for the Feng family and his sister, he became cold-blooded and ruthless at a young age, but is he really cold-blooded and ruthless? When facing her sister, Fen Yuchen is still just an ordinary brother. Okay, I'll go and have a look this afternoon if possible, the plan can be implemented. Those people all wanted to see the Feng family's joke, but he would not let those people see the joke. He wanted the Feng family to become a top-notch family. No one can bully him and his sister. Dong dong dong. When Feng Ling arrived at the door, she heard the words "the plan can be implemented," but did not hear clearly what they were going to do. After she opened the door and came in, she saw an unknown elder brother looking at her with vigilant eyes. Feng Ling shrank her head subconsciously, but still looked over to Fen Yuchen. "Brother, want to eat?" Feng Ling was holding a bowl with food prepared for Fen Yuchen. She slowly walked up to Fen Yuchen, looked into his eyes, and tentatively put the bowl on the table. "Would you like to eat?" "Elder brother?" The man below's eyes almost dropped to the ground. He has been following Fen Yuchen, but he has never seen him have a sister? The only sister is still abroad. Wait a minute, is this the sister from abroad? The man looked at Feng Ling. My God! Why does his boss have such a cute girl? This is too cute. Does such a boss really deserve such a lovely girl? It doesn't deserve it. It doesn't deserve it. You can go out. Fen Yuchen looked at the man with a serious face. Don't think that he couldn't feel what he was thinking. Those eyes were almost glued to his sister. Damn it. Yes, Lord. The man nodded and left. Fen Yuchen then focused her attention on Feng Ling again. Didn't you ask Xing Huan to have dinner with you? What's wrong? I want to eat with my brother, but he hasn't eaten yet. The girl looked at Fen Yuchen with a waxy expression. Then, his eyes suddenly dimmed. Brother, don't you want to eat with Lingling? No, it's just that my brother is afraid. It's nothing. My brother will eat and go with Lingling. Fen Yuchen took Feng Ling's little hand and led her to the restaurant. Actually, he was afraid that Feng Ling would see him unable to eat. He didn't expect that in just one day, this little girl would become so dependent on him. The girl behind her eyes flickered. I heard a voice in my mind. Look, it's not a bad idea for you to try to get close to your brother. You know that you don't dislike Fen Yuchen. In this case, why don't you give it a try? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 326. Chapter 326. When Feng Ling was about to deliver food to Fen Yuchen, she negotiated with the original person and asked the original person to deliver the food to Fen Yuchen in person. At first, the original person was unwilling, because the previous encounters made the original person full of fear of this brother. However, Feng Ling told her that there are some things that if she doesn't try, she will always be confined to this moment. Only by trying can you have a better future. So, the original person tried it, and the result of the attempt did not seem to be bad. The original person slightly raised his lips. Is your name also Feng Ling? Well, you can call me boss, that's what they all call me. Them, the original person was stunned for a moment. Feng Ling shook her head. They are people you don't know. Just like you, everyone has their own troubles and confusions, but they have all jumped over it, but they don't know what is happening to those children now. Yellamo, is she taking the path she likes? It's a pity that she is no longer in that world. If she were still in that world. Feng Ling sighed. Forget it, it's impossible. Boss, can I try to get along with my brother? I think he is not so scary anymore. The girl pursed her lips and said. Feng Ling nodded, of course, but you must remember that your brother loves you. For him, as long as you are still by his side, the sky will not fall. But if one day, if you leave him, then there is no reason for all his efforts now. What happens to a person who doesn't know what he is working for? I think you should know. I know, but... The girl hesitated. Sister, am I really that important to my brother? Their mother left 2 years after giving birth to her, leaving only her father and brother. Now, her father has also left, and she only has her brother. In her world, it seems that she can do nothing but rely on her brother. However, she thought that the future would be very dark because she was very afraid of this brother and she couldn't imagine how she would get along with him. However, under the leadership of her sister, the girl suddenly discovered that it seemed that getting along with her brother was not that difficult. It's very important. You are his heart. If the heart stops beating, do you think the person can still live? The answer is no. The girl froze on the spot. She looked at the tall man in front of her and was filled with shock. How could she be so important to her brother? Lingling, what are you thinking about? While the girl was in a daze, Fen Yuchen walked to her and knelt down and asked. The girl came back to her senses, looked at Fen Yuchen, and shook her head. I suddenly got distracted. I'm sorry. Brother, let's go eat. After finishing the meal, although neither of them spoke, the girl felt very happy. As for why she was happy, she herself didn't know. She seemed to see her old brother who doted on her again. Would you like to take a nap? Fen Yuchen asked her. The girl nodded. Well, sleep. Brother, let's take a nap too. No, my brother has something to do in the afternoon, so he can't sleep. Those people must be dealt with, otherwise, Lingling's life here will be in danger. Oh, the girl nodded in understanding, then watched the man get dressed and go out. On the bed, the girl tossed and turned and couldn't sleep. Finally, she got up and asked Feng Ling, Sister, do you want me to see my brother's secret room? What, you want to face your fears? I want to see where, I don't know, I just want to see. You want to make your heart not afraid of that place at all? Feng Ling smiled. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 327. Chapter 327. Okay, go and have a look. You should remember how to get in. Yeah, I remember. She always remembered it, because she had seen how her brother got in, so she always remembered the password, but her brother thought he didn't close the door. Actually, she was just curious about what was inside. Give me your body and I'll take you there, otherwise it will be bad if you get stressed again. Anyway, girls can watch it in their consciousness. The girl thought for a while and nodded, okay. After Feng Ling took control of her body, she walked in the original direction according to her memory. The secret room was very dark, but there was still a vague smell of blood. This seems to be a place where Fen Yuchen often comes. Feng Ling frowned. Although she was used to it, she still didn't like the smell of blood. The smell here was particularly strong, as if she had beaten someone before. When they arrived in the secret room, Feng Ling discovered that there was another person inside, but that person was soaked in water, and his face was pale without any blood. When he saw Feng Ling approaching, the man became alert and asked, "Who are you?" Feng Ling didn't say anything, just looked at him quietly. The man rolled his eyes and said, "I understand, are you Feng Yuchen's sister?" He, everyone heard that his sister had a mental problem, but now that she saw her, it turned out to be true. Feng Ling didn't say anything. In the eyes of outsiders, Feng Ling was indeed mentally ill. Since everyone thought so, she just did this. After all, she didn't know the origin of this man, but from his tone, he seemed to be Feng Yuchen's enemy, so Feng Yuchen put him here. When the man saw that Feng Ling was silent, he began to talk to himself again. I don't know, your brother is a complete devil. I advise you to stay away from your brother, otherwise, my fate will be your fate in the future. The people outside are already preparing to deal with your brother, and you will be the first to take the knife. If you are lucky enough to be your brothers against them, haha. I see that your skin is fair and tender, but don't let those old guys bully you. I think you'd better make preparations early. After all, they don't have much time to wait. Fenling looked at him quietly. Who are you? Hey, you can speak. It's easy if you can speak, the man smiled. You don't need to know who I am, you just need to know that the lives of your brother's hands can't be counted on 10 hands. I heard that you also became like this because you saw your brother murder someone? That's right, your brother is not worthy. You call him brother, listen to me, run away, run as far as possible. For it. The man wanted to say something else, but his voice suddenly fell silent. Fenling turned around and looked over. Fen Yuchen didn't know when she came back. His face was a little pale and seemed full of panic. Brother, Fenling blinked, why are you back? Fen Yuchen quickly walked to Fenling and grabbed her hand. Fenling felt that Fen Yuchen's hand was trembling. She could also feel the girl's emotional fluctuations in her consciousness. Lingling, how did you get in? He remembered that he had closed the door here. If he hadn't forgotten to bring something back, he didn't know how long this man would have to talk to Lingling. I remember the password. Fenling pursed her lips and said, I saw it when I was a kid. Can't you come in here? No, Lingling can go wherever she wants, but this place is not suitable for you, you know. Fen Yuchen explained patiently. He slowly relaxed, and his Lingling didn't seem too scared, which was good. He was afraid that Lingling would get stressed again. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 328. Chapter 328. Sister, I want to talk to my brother. Okay, I'll give you the initiative. Fenling closed her eyes, and the two of them switched sides. The girl opened her eyes and saw her brother in front of her. She pursed her lips and said, Brother, I want to come and see this place. I feel like I am not very afraid of this place anymore. Xiao Fenling looked around and said, Brother, I don't seem to be very afraid of you anymore. The girl looked at Fen Yuchen in confusion. Seeing the surprised smile on Fen Yuchen's face, she didn't understand why her brother was so happy. She just said, her understanding in a daze, Brother, I'm not afraid of this place anymore. Can I come here in the future? Yes, but if Lingling wants to come in from now on, he has to tell his brother, can he bring you in? After all, sometimes some bad things happen here, which are not suitable for Lingling to watch. If Lingling is frightened after watching it, it will be more than worth the gain. Well, okay, Lingling knows, Lingling will be good. The girl nodded obediently. Then let's go. Fen Yuchen held Fenling's hand and was about to go out, but saw a person walking in hurriedly. Master, that group of people has surrounded this place. Fen Yuchen's face suddenly changed. Why did they come so quickly? Have the people from purgatory arrived? Go back to the Lord. They have been sent here. They will arrive in 2 minutes. Fen Yuchen nodded, then looked at Fenling. Lingling, no matter what happens next, remember, stay with me and never leave, okay? Okay, Lingling understands. Stay with your brother and never leave. Xiao Fenling followed Fen Yuchen and didn't know what would happen in the future. Only Fenling felt that something big might happen to Fen Yuchen. Let's switch over. Your brother is probably being hunted down. I'm afraid you won't be able to handle it. Just watch me. Chasing? Will my brother be in danger? The girl was a little anxious. Fenling shook his head, it's hard to say. I don't know the specific situation yet. However, for your personal safety, give me the initiative. Also, I'm afraid that you will be caught. Then, at that time, the initiative will never be given to me. Maybe it's in your brother's hands. To put it bluntly, you will become a burden to your brother. If you want to ensure that you don't become a burden to your brother, give me the initiative. Okay, sister, I listen to you. The girl nodded, and at the next moment, Fenling took control and saw the people from purgatory that Fen Yuchen said coming over. They were all wearing black clothes. Wearing a hijab, you can't see the expression on your face clearly. Fenling followed Fen Yuchen out of the secret room. On the opposite side, many people came over wearing a guy. Fenling squinted her eyes. This seemed to be a fierce battle. Sure enough, it didn't take long before the two sides started fighting. Fenling looked at them. Now, she was just a girl with no strength, so she didn't have the ability to fight. If she did, I'm afraid they would all doubt her. However, Fen Yuchen does not seem to be weak. As long as she is not caught, as soon as this idea came up, they heard them shouting, "Seize Fenling. As long as we catch Fenling, we will not be far from success. Yes, catch Fenling. Seize Fenling." In an instant, Fenling became the target of public criticism. The girl pulled those people coldly and felt that she was being protected tightly in their arms. Inexplicably, a warmth flowed through her. From before to now, no one has been so kind to me. If there is, it is Bai Shuang. It's a pity that she can't go back to that world now. Fenling still doesn't know that she has forgotten Yeking Han. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 329. Chapter 329. Ling Ling, stay with me, don't leave. Got it. Fen Yuchen took Fenling into his arms and refused to let her leave. Fenling stayed obediently in Fen Yuchen's arms, and then watched the fight in the distance. Have you seen it? Do you know what your brother usually faces? The girl was a little unbelievable. She always thought that her family was very safe, but now. She looked at all this, and for a moment, she didn't know what attitude to use to face this matter. Fenling smiled and said, "Actually, you are quite happy. You have a father and brother who love you. They are willing to give everything for you. Of course, I didn't say you were wrong." A child of a few years old saw that scene. It's true that it will be very scary. But, I think you are 16 years old now, and you should have grown up. Maybe you can use your current thinking to put yourself back to the scene at that time. Maybe, you will make different discoveries. What do you think? Fenling spoke to the girl softly. In fact, this matter is not the fault of the original owner or anyone else. Their fault was that they saw something they shouldn't have seen at the wrong time. The girl was silent for a long time. She looked at her brother in her mind. Even though it was so scary outside, he always protected her from getting hurt. The girl's tears flowed out little by little. But why did my brother want to kill him? This is something she has never understood. After all, that person back then was very, very good to her. So, she never understood what he did wrong to make her brother so angry, which led her to think that her brother was a particularly cruel person. Fenling thought for a while. Actually, I know, but I don't want to tell you because I want you to find out by yourself, but now, it's probably too late. What's too late? You have gradually opened your heart to your brother now, and it's time for me to leave. I will leave after everything calms down, Fenling said. I'll tell you. Actually, your brother was doing it for you back then. For me. The girl doesn't understand. Fenling continued to explain, yes, because of you, that person had evil thoughts about you, so your brother killed him for your safety. At that time, you were sleeping, and that person took advantage of you to sleep, and gave you the incense to attack you, but your brother found out. So, he killed him. Do you still think that your brother did it for no reason? Such a person would go to jail even in modern times. How much more so in this era when there is no law? The girl stared blankly in the direction of Fen Yuchen without saying a word. Now, she didn't know what attitude she should use to face Fen Yuchen. She suddenly felt that she had been wrong all along. Fen Yuchen was really nice to her, but she kept avoiding Fen Yuchen. Made Fen Yuchen sad. Actually, you don't have to feel sorry for your brother. Your brother didn't explain all this to you, of course. He may have also considered the reasons for your illness. However, no matter what, as long as it gets better in the future, it's not too bad. Don't think of everything as bad. There's no need, really. Fen Ling smiled, then used the prepared silver needle to shoot at the person behind him, and continued, you can think about how you should open up your heart to your brother in a comfortable way after all this is over. If you don't open your heart and talk about things like this, you won't be able to completely let go of it in this life. For your brother's sake, and for yours, go and talk to him. What do you think? End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 330. Chapter 330. The girl nodded seriously. Okay, I understand, I will. When this is over, I will have a frank chat with my brother, and then live a good life. Sister, thank you. You're welcome. Fen Ling smiled, and another silver needle flew over. Those people were simply weird. The little girl who clearly felt that she should be caught easily, but just when she was about to catch her, her legs became weak for some reason. It was like this every time, without exception. Gradually, some people found something was wrong. Looking over again, they found that the little girl hiding in the man's arms had a very bright smile, but to them, this bright smile was the devil. This girl is extraordinary. With Fen Ling's help, Fen Yuchen quickly dealt with those people, then let go of Fen Ling. Lingling, are you okay? Fen Ling nodded. Brother, would you like to take a bath? My brother is dirty, and so is Lingling. After brother finishes taking a bath, Lingling has something to say to her brother. The man was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't expect that Fen Ling would tell him this. He nodded. Okay, brother, go take a bath. Lingling is right, brother is indeed a little dirty. When the man went to take a bath, Fen Ling also took a bath. After the bath, Fen Ling handed over control of her body to the original man. Let's have a good chat with your brother. I don't have much time, and I only have a little time left to help you. The girl nodded. Yeah, okay, I understand. Elder brother. The girl walked up, then sat on the sofa and looked at the man who had finished taking a shower. The man's hair has not been dried yet, and he seems to be a little eager to see her. Seems a little nervous. Brother, your hair is not dry. Fen Yuchen shook his head. It's okay, brother. What does Lingling want to say to brother? Can brother listen to it first and then go and dry his hair? Fen Ling thought for a while, then nodded. Okay. Brother, someone told me that when you were a child, you killed your second brother because he wanted to do something evil to me, right? Fen Yuchen never expected that one day, his sister would take the initiative to mention this matter. Moreover, how did she know about this matter? Everyone who knew it at the beginning should be dead, right? Brother, right, the girl looked at Fen Yuchen eagerly. Fen Yuchen sighed and nodded. You're right, yes. Lingling, my brother has been very sorry to you over the years because he made you become like this. If he had known that you would be like this, he would never have let you enter that place. Fen Ling shook her head. Brother, don't say that, this matter is not your fault, it's Lingling's fault. Back then, Lingling failed to control her curiosity, so she secretly remembered the password and went in. Seeing that scene, Lingling was very scared. Over the years, Lingling has been trying to get out, but she always thought that she could not get out. However, now Lingling realizes that she doesn't seem to hate her brother, and Lingling doesn't hate being in contact with her brother, so her brother. From now on, Lingling can live a normal life with her brother. Brother, I'm sorry, it's all Lingling's fault. Lingling has occupied her father these years, and Lingling has not returned her father to her brother. Lingling is very willful. The girl lowered her head, her eyes full of guilt. The man rubbed her little head and said, "What did Lingling say?" Lingling did a good job. My brother is very happy that Lingling can let go. In this way, your brother can relax a lot. Lingling, you have to remember that no matter what happens in the future, your brother will always be there. He is the person who cares about you the most. End of this chapter.